Ethan, could you pass me the salt? Rachel's voice broke through the quiet clinking of silverware. I handed it over, smiling. You've barely eaten anything. I'm not that hungry, she said, eyes on her phone. The blue light reflected in her pupils, making her look distant. Work again? I asked. Just emails, she said too quickly. I nodded, pretending not to notice how her thumb hovered over the screen like she didn't want me to see the name lighting it up. Liam's name. My best friend. My business partner. My brother in everything except blood. I forced a light laugh. You and Liam still competing for the title of busiest person alive? She smiled faintly. Maybe he's winning lately. Something in her tone, soft, playful, cut through my chest. Guess I'll have to work harder then. Don't, she said with a small laugh. You already work too much. The irony made my stomach tighten. When dinner ended, she went to the balcony with her phone. I stayed at the table, staring at the half-empty glass in front of me. I could hear her voice through the sliding door, low and gentle. She wasn't talking like that when she spoke to me. Hey, I said when she came back in, trying to sound casual. Everything okay? She tucked her phone into her pocket. Yeah, just my sister. I smiled, even though I knew Rachel's sister never called this late. Tell her I said hi. She knows, Rachel replied, avoiding my eyes. Later that night, while she showered, I lay in bed scrolling through messages from Liam. We hadn't talked much lately, not like before. We used to share everything, plans, jokes, dreams. Lately, all he sent were one-word replies. Busy. Later. Sure. When Rachel returned, her hair damp, she climbed into bed beside me. You're quiet tonight. Just tired, I said. Thinking about the office project, she turned away from me. Try not to overthink everything, Ethan. Not everything needs fixing. Yeah, I whispered, staring at the ceiling. Not everything. The room felt colder than usual. The next morning, I found Liam waiting by my car. Man, you look like hell, he joked. Rough night, I said, forcing a laugh. He patted my shoulder. Rachel keeping you up? Something like that. We drove to the site together. He talked the whole time. Business updates, client jokes, casual things that used to make me laugh. I kept listening for sincerity in his voice. It wasn't there. Everything good between you and Rachel? He asked suddenly. Yeah, I said, watching his reflection in the window. Why? He shrugged. She just seems distracted. You both do. I looked at him, wondering if he meant it as concern or guilt. Maybe life's just catching up, he nodded. Maybe. When we reached the office, he got a call and stepped aside. His tone changed, soft, warm, too personal. I caught a glimpse of the name flashing on his screen. Rachel. I froze. My stomach clenched, but I told myself there had to be a reason. They were friends. We all were. When he noticed me looking, he ended the call quickly. Client stuff, he said. Yeah? I smiled. You always sound that happy talking to clients? He laughed nervously. You're imagining things, man. Maybe. He walked away before I could say more. That night, Rachel came home late again. You didn't have to wait up, she said, dropping her purse. I wanted to, I replied. You've been working a lot lately. Deadlines. You know how it is, I do. But you could have texted, she sighed. I don't need to report every move I make, Ethan. I didn't say you did, I said quietly. Her eyes softened. I'm sorry. I'm just tired, I nodded. We both are. She touched my arm briefly, then turned away. The contact felt rehearsed, like something she thought a wife should do. When she went to bed, I stayed in the living room. The clock ticked loudly, mocking me with every second. I stared at the framed photo on the shelf, Rachel, me, and Liam. Laughing at the beach 2 summers ago. Back then, life had felt simple, safe, honest. Now, even silence sounded suspicious. The next morning, I watched her get ready, humming softly. She looked beautiful, like always. I wanted to believe that meant everything was still okay. As she left, she kissed my cheek lightly. Love you, she said. Love you too, I whispered. But it felt like the words bounced off a wall that wasn't there before. When the door closed, I exhaled the breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Everything looked perfect. Or so I thought. Rachel's phone buzzed on the counter while she was in the shower. I wasn't trying to look. I swear I wasn't. But the screen lit up again and again. Liam calling. My throat went dry. For a second, I convinced myself it was business. Then I heard his voice, muffled, distant, from the bathroom speaker. "Same place tonight?" he said. Rachel laughed softly. That sound I hadn't heard from her in weeks. "You really can't wait, can you?" The world tilted. I froze, phone still in my hand, the sound drilling into my chest. "I miss you," he said. "I miss you too," she whispered. My fingers went numb. The phone slipped from my grip and hit the floor with a thud. The shower stopped. Silence filled the house like smoke. "Ethan?" she called. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. My voice came out rough. "You might want to finish that call." The door opened slowly. Rachel stepped out, towel wrapped around her, eyes wide. "What are you talking about?" I pointed at the phone. "Liam, you were talking to him." Her face drained of color. "Ethan, please, please what?" I said, my voice shaking. "Please pretend I didn't hear you? Or please believe you when you say it's not what it sounds like." She reached for me, but I stepped back. The air between us felt like glass, ready to shatter. "Ethan, it just happened," she whispered. The words hit harder than any punch. "It just happened?" Tears welled in her eyes. "You've been so distant. I felt invisible. So you found comfort with my best friend?" I asked. "That's your explanation?" "It wasn't planned." "I didn't mean to hurt you." "Didn't mean to?" I laughed bitterly. Every lie was a choice, Rachel. Every look, every excuse. She covered her face, sobbing. "I'm sorry." I turned away, but my reflection in the mirror caught my eye. I didn't recognize the man staring back, eyes hollow, jaw trembling. The phone rang again. Liam's name glowed like poison. I answered. "Hey, Rachel, did he—" "It's me," I said. My voice cracked halfway through the words. Silence. Then a low breath. "Ethan." "Listen, I can explain." "Explain what?" I said. "How you managed to screw my wife and stab me in the same week." He sighed. "It's not like that. It's exactly like that." I shouted. "I trusted you, Liam. I trusted both of you." "Calm down," he said quickly. "You're overreacting." "Overreacting?" I laughed, tears burning down my cheeks. "You're sleeping with my wife." Rachel sobbed harder. "Stop yelling, please." I threw the phone on the couch. "You two deserve each other." She reached for my arm. "Ethan, I still love you." "No, you don't," I said. "You love what I gave you, security, comfort, attention. But you killed every bit of love the moment you called him baby." Her lip trembled. "It was a mistake." "Then why does it feel practiced?" I asked. "How long, Rachel?" She hesitated. That hesitation was my answer. "Months?" I whispered. Her silence confirmed it. Something inside me snapped. "All those nights you said you were working late, you were with him." "I didn't want to lose you," she said, sobbing. "Then why did you throw me away?" She sank to the floor, crying uncontrollably. "I'm sorry." "I'm so sorry." The sound of her crying used to break me. Now it only echoed. I grabbed my jacket. "Where are you going?" she asked. "Anywhere you're not." She reached out, grabbing my wrist. "Please don't leave. We can fix this." I pulled my hand free. "You can't fix ashes, Rachel." The rain started as soon as I stepped outside. Cold drops hit my face, mixing with the tears I didn't realize were still falling. Behind me, she called my name again and again, but her voice sounded far away, like someone calling from another lifetime. My car keys shook in my hand. I couldn't even see the road through the blur of rain and heartbreak. I walked instead. Down the street, past the lights, past the home that wasn't home anymore. I kept hearing her voice in my head, soft, desperate, hollow. "I didn't mean to hurt you, but that's the thing about betrayal. It's never an accident." I stopped at the corner, soaked and trembling, my breath fogging in the cold. The city lights blurred into smears of gold and gray, and in that moment it hit me. This wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the burial of the man I used to be. I whispered to the rain, to no one and everyone at once. It wasn't just my marriage that died tonight. It was me. The apartment was too quiet. Every sound, dripping faucet, creaking floor, felt like it echoed through my skull. I dropped my boxes on the floor and whispered to myself, "So this is home now." The walls were blank. The air smelled of paint and emptiness. I sat on the couch I'd bought secondhand and stared at my phone. No messages. No calls, nothing. Rachel's laugh still haunted the corners of my mind. I could hear it in the silence, cruel and familiar. When Marcus visited that evening, he whistled softly. "Damn, Ethan, this place looks depressing." I gave a weak smile. "Matches the mood." He dropped a bag of takeout on the counter. "You eating? Or just surviving on regret and caffeine?" "I'm trying," I said. He opened a beer and sat across from me. "You need to stop blaming yourself." "I picked them both," I said quietly. "That's on me." "You trusted snakes," Marcus said bluntly. "That's not weakness. That's humanity." I let out a dry laugh. "Humanity got me betrayed." He looked at me for a moment, then sighed. "You're not the first man to be fooled by love. You just thought yours was different." "It was," I said. "Until it wasn't." Marcus leaned back. "What are you going to do now?" "I don't know," I admitted. "Go to work, come home, pretend I don't still hear her voice." He nodded slowly. "You need help, Ethan. Talk to someone who knows how to put your head back together." I frowned. "Like a therapist?" "Exactly like that." I hesitated. "You really think talking fixes this?" "No," he said, "but it keeps you from drowning in it." After he left, I sat there for hours, staring at the window. The city lights looked blurred through the glass, like the world was weeping too. 2 weeks later, I sat across from Dr. Mason, a middle-aged man with kind eyes and too much silence in his office. "So," he began, "tell me what brings you here." I smirked bitterly. Marriage imploded. Friendship too. "The usual," he nodded. "How are you coping?" "I'm alive," I said. "That's about it. Sleeping?" "Barely. Eating?" "Occasionally," he scribbled something down. "When did you last feel at peace?" I thought for a moment. "Before I knew the truth." "What truth?" "That love doesn't protect you. It just gives someone the power to destroy you." He studied me carefully. "Do you blame them?" I laughed quietly. "I don't know who to blame anymore. Rachel, Liam, or the fool who believed them both." He leaned forward. "What do you feel right now?" I looked at the floor. Empty. Like everything inside me got scraped clean. He nodded again, letting silence stretch between us. Then I whispered, "Why did the people I loved most choose to destroy me?" The question hung in the air. He didn't answer, and maybe that was the point. Some questions weren't meant to be answered, just survived. When the session ended, he handed me a card. "Keep coming. Healing isn't quick, but it's real if you let it be." I nodded, pocketing the card like it was a lifeline. At work, I tried to focus, but my mind kept drifting. Blueprints blurred before my eyes. Mr. Grant called me into his office. "Ethan, you've missed 2 deadlines," he said. "I know. I'm sorry. Personal issues?" I hesitated. "Something like that," he sighed. "You're talented, but talent means nothing if you fall apart. Take a few days." "Get your head straight." I wanted to argue, but he was right. I wasn't myself anymore. As I left, I heard someone laugh behind me, a laugh that sounded exactly like Rachel's. My heart stuttered. I turned. It wasn't her. Just someone else's happiness cutting through mine. That weekend, I went for a walk to clear my head. The city felt too alive, too full of people who didn't know what heartbreak sounded like at 3 a.m. And then, across the street, I saw them, Rachel and Liam. They were sitting outside a cafe, sharing a pastry, smiling like sin didn't exist. Her hand brushed his. He leaned closer. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My legs locked. My chest burned. They looked. Happy I wanted to shout, to throw something, to demand why. But I didn't move. I just watched. A part of me hoped she'd look up and see me, to feel even a flicker of guilt. She never did. I turned away, whispering to myself, "Let them have their heaven." "Mine's already gone." The wind carried their laughter behind me as I walked. Every step felt heavier than the last, and in that hollow walk home, I realized something brutal. Heartbreak doesn't always kill you. Sometimes it just keeps you breathing so you can feel every second of it. It was past midnight when the knock came. I almost didn't answer. No one visited me this late, not anymore. But something in the sound, desperate and uneven, pulled me to the door. When I opened it, Sophia stood there. Her eyes were red, her mascara streaked like tears frozen in place. "Ethan," she whispered. I didn't know where else to go. I stepped aside. "Come in." She moved past me, clutching her coat like armor. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The air between us was thick with something raw, shared betrayal. Finally, I asked, "You found out?" She nodded, voice trembling. "Tonight." He didn't even try to deny it. I swallowed hard. Rachel and Liam, her eyes met mine. "How long have you known?" 2 months, I said. "Every day since then feels like a year." She let out a shaky laugh. "I thought he was distant because of work. I cooked dinners he never came home for." I blame myself. "Me too," I said. "I thought I'd failed as a husband. Turns out I was just trusting the wrong people." She sank onto the couch. I kept asking him if there was someone else. He said I was paranoid. "Tonight I saw the messages. What did he say?" "He said it was my fault," she whispered. "That I drove him away. That I made him feel small." I clenched my fists. Classic Liam, he breaks something, then blames the shards. Her voice cracked. "I hate him, Ethan, but I hate that I still love him more." That hit me like a mirror shattering. "Yeah," I murmured. "Love doesn't disappear. It just rots." She looked around my apartment. Bare walls, half-empty shelves, unwashed dishes. "You're not doing well either," I shrugged. "You don't heal from this. You just learn to live beside the wound." She stared at the floor. "Do you ever want to make them pay?" I paused, the question hanging heavy between us. "Every second of every day," I said. "But revenge is a poison you sip slowly." Sophia leaned forward, her voice low. "Then maybe we sip it together." I studied her face, broken but burning. "You're serious?" "I'm tired of being the victim," she said. "I want control back, control." The words sank into me like fire meeting dry wood. "What did you have in mind?" She shook her head. "I don't know yet, but I can't sit in that house pretending anymore." I sat beside her, then stopped pretending. "We can figure it out. Step by step." She looked at me then, really looked. "You sound calm." "Too calm. I've already drowned," I said. "Now I'm learning how to breathe underwater." Her lips trembled into something almost like a smile. "You think we can actually hurt them?" "Not hurt," I said quietly. "Expose. Let the truth ruin them the way lies ruined us." She exhaled, a sound between relief and exhaustion. "Maybe that's what justice feels like." I poured 2 glasses of water and handed her one. "To the broken," I said. She clinked her glass against mine. "And to those who learn to rebuild." For a while, we sat in silence. No tears, no explanations, just the shared ache of 2 people who'd been left behind. When she finally spoke again, her voice was softer. "You ever wonder if they even think about what they did?" "Every day," I said. "And every day I realize it doesn't matter. They sleep easy because we suffer quietly." "Then maybe," she said, "it's time they heard the noise." Her words lingered long after she left. I stood at the window, watching her disappear into the night. The streetlights painted her in gold, like she was walking out of grief and into something sharper. For the first time in months, my chest didn't feel hollow. There was a spark there, dangerous, electric. Revenge wasn't a scream anymore. It was a whisper. A plan forming beneath the calm. I sat down at my desk and opened a blank notebook. The page stared back at me like a challenge. I wrote the first words without hesitation. Step 1. Take back control. My hand trembled, but my mind was clear. This wasn't rage. It was focus. Cold, deliberate focus. Maybe pain had finally done what love couldn't. It made me see clearly. And as the clock ticked past 2 a.m., I realized something strange. I wasn't thinking about Rachel's laughter anymore. I was thinking about the look on her face when she realized she'd lost the last man willing to forgive her. That thought didn't bring peace. But it brought purpose. And that was enough. The office smelled like coffee and late meetings. Mr. Grant looked at me over his glasses and said, "You ready for this, Ethan?" "I am," I answered. He slid a folder across the desk. "This contract could change everything for the firm. Liam's company is on that bid too. Keep your head clear. I will. I won't let you down." "Good. Don't let the past bleed into the blueprints." "I won't," I said. Outside, the city moved like nothing had happened. Inside, I learned how to act like a man who belonged to a life again. I met clients, recalculated budgets, and smiled at people who presumed stability when I felt anything but. That evening, Sophia texted, "Coffee? Need to talk." I replied, "Come." She arrived with rain on her coat and truth in her eyes. "Did you get the grant file?" she asked. I did, I said. You looking for dirt or collaboration? Both, she murmured. Liam's stretching finances thin. He's banking on that contract like it's a miracle. He borrowed from people who don't ask questions. Who? I asked. Shadow lenders, she said. Backroom loans. He used company cash as collateral without telling the board. Proof? I asked. She handed me a crumpled envelope. Receipts, emails, he thought he deleted them. I glanced at the papers. You risked a lot bringing this to me. I risked more staying there, she said. Every time I asked, he turned it back on me. You're paranoid, he'd say. Classic Liam, I said. Break it, blame it, she sat down. You look different at work, calmer. I learned how to smile when the inside is bleeding, I said. She looked down.
Do you ever want to make them pay?
Every second, I admitted. But revenge is a poison. Then drink it together, she said. I studied her. You're serious? I'm tired of being the victim, she said. I want control back. What's the plan? I asked. He's careless with transfers, she replied. I can copy memos. He keeps receipts on a drive at home. You're sure? I asked. Yes, I can get them without him noticing. Why help me? I asked. Because staying there was killing me, she said, and because someone should hold him accountable. You're risking a lot, I said. I know, she replied. I just can't stay quiet. We sketched possibilities on napkins, whispering like conspirators. If we leak the emails to the board, she said, they'll audit him. If Grant pulls out, his investors will panic. And his house collapses, I finished. But be careful, she warned. Move too soon and he covers his tracks. Timing, I said. Precision. We wait until the bid is sealed, then we reveal the rot. She touched my hand. You aren't alone. Her fingers were warm. When we talk, I feel like I'm building again. Not just blueprints, me. Good. Then build, she said. The next morning, Mr. Grant asked, Any doubts about the bid? I've been double-checking numbers, I said. Good. Be thorough. If Liam's side looks weak, note it. I will. That night, Sophia texted, Coffee? I met her. He blamed me, she said. Said I pushed him away. I said I loved him, not his lies, she added. He called me paranoid. Typical, I said. I can copy memos, she said. He keeps records on a personal drive. You're sure? Yes, I can get them without him noticing. Why help me? I asked. Because staying there was killing me, she replied. We sketched a plan. Wait until the bid closes, then leak documents to the board. Precise timing, I said. No fireworks, just truth. If we do this right, innocent people won't get burned, she said. Then we do it right, I said. She touched my hand before leaving. Be careful. Later, holding the napkin she left, I murmured, If Rachel was my illusion, Sophia is my truth. Did you do it? Sophia asked, her voice trembling slightly through the phone. Yes, I said. The files are with the board now. They'll open them in the morning. She went quiet for a few seconds. Then it begins. It already has, I said. Liam's been living off borrowed pride. It's time the bill comes due. That night I couldn't sleep. My laptop glowed in the dark, news alerts pinging like whispers. Internal audit announced at Hawthorne Construction. I leaned back, exhaling. Karma doesn't always roar, I murmured. It whispers. The next day at work, Marcus walked in with a smirk. You seeing the news? Hard to miss it, I said. Liam's company just froze 2 major accounts. Fraudulent transfers, they say. Unfortunate, I replied. Marcus laughed. Unfortunate for him, maybe. You look calm. Too calm. Peace looks suspicious on me, I said. He leaned forward. You didn't have anything to do with this, did you? I met his eyes. Do I look like a man who plays with fire? He grinned. You look like a man who started the damn blaze. After work, I stopped by a cafe. Sophia was already there, stirring her coffee. She looked tired but lighter somehow. It's spreading fast, she said quietly. Investors are pulling out. His board's calling emergency meetings. Good, I said. He built his empire on lies. It deserves to collapse, she looked at me. Do you feel better? I hesitated. I feel balanced, like the universe finally corrected itself. Rachel's been calling me, she said suddenly. Why? I asked. She's scared. She said Liam's losing everything. She wants advice. Advice? I laughed bitterly. From you? Sophia nodded. She thinks I'll understand what it's like to live with his chaos. Tell her I said congratulations, I said. She chose him. Now she can share his downfall. She sounded broken, Sophia murmured. Good, I said flatly. Pain builds character, Sophia looked down. You're colder than I expected. I'm not cold, I said. I'm cured. We sat in silence, the kind that wasn't uncomfortable, just full. Outside, the world went on. Cars, laughter, people chasing the next bright lie. I took a sip of my coffee. You know what's funny? I said, what? I thought revenge would feel explosive. It doesn't, it feels quiet. Like peace after a storm, she smiled faintly. That's the best kind. Later that week, Liam's scandal hit every business column. CEO accused of embezzlement and forgery. I watched a video of him leaving his office surrounded by reporters. His tie hung loose, his expression pale. Rachel trailed behind him, sunglasses hiding her tears. Sophia sent me a message. He's finished. So are the ghosts, I typed back. That evening, she called. He came home drunk, she said softly. He begged me to come back, and? I asked, I said no, she replied. He said I'd regret it. Did you? No, for the first time I didn't. I closed my eyes, smiling faintly. Good, she exhaled shakily. You know, I thought I'd feel guilty watching him fall. But I don't. Not even a little. Because guilt belongs to those who break, not those who survive, I said. She laughed weakly. You sound like my therapist. I've had enough therapy for both of us. Do you ever think about Rachel? She asked. Only when I need to remind myself what blindness feels like. She's leaving him, Sophia said. I heard she's moving out. Of course she is, I said. Loyalty lasts as long as comfort. She deserves the silence he gave you, she said. She'll get it, I replied. We sat in quiet again, the kind that hummed with release. Then she asked, What now, Ethan? I rebuild, I said simply. Not out of hate, but out of purpose. And me? Whatever you want to be. Free, finally. Her smile softened. It's strange. I didn't expect peace to look like this. Me neither, I admitted. But maybe this is what healing really sounds like, quiet, steady, and earned. She nodded. No fireworks? No, I said. Just the sound of everything falling exactly where it should. We finished our coffee. As she stood to leave, I said, Sophia, yeah? Thank you. For what? For walking through hell with me, I said. Most people run from the fire. You stayed, she smiled, genuinely, beautifully. Maybe because you didn't hide from it either. As she walked away, I caught our reflections in the cafe window, two broken people learning how to stand again. The world outside looked softer somehow. I whispered, Karma doesn't always roar, it whispers. And that whisper finally sounded like peace. The rain had been falling for hours, soft and unhurried, like the world was finally at peace. Sophia sat across from me on the couch, her hair damp, her hands clasped around a mug she hadn't touched. She broke the silence first. You ever think about what comes after all this? I looked at her. After the revenge? Yeah, her voice was quiet. After the noise stops. After the anger fades. I think about it every night, I said. And every time I see you in it. She blinked, startled. Me? I nodded. You're the only part of this that doesn't feel wrong. She looked down. Don't say that. Why not?
Because it sounds like we're the same as them, she whispered.
Broken people trying to fill holes with each other. I leaned forward. We didn't lie. We didn't cheat. We survived, she gave a small, sad laugh. Survival doesn't make love any cleaner. I don't care if it's clean, I said. I care if it's real, she set the mug down. When I first came to you, I wasn't looking for anything. I just didn't want to drown alone. I know, I said, and somehow helping you kept me afloat too. Do you ever feel guilty? She asked softly. All the time, I said. Not for what we did, but for how it feels. Like I found peace in the ashes of something that used to be holy. She looked at me, eyes glistening. Then why do we keep finding each other? Because the wreckage is the only place left where we still recognize ourselves. She smiled faintly. You always know how to ruin my walls. I had to learn, I said. Mine were made of the same lies. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The rain became a lullaby against the windows, and the air smelled like coffee and honesty. "I thought I'd forgotten how to feel safe," she murmured. "Then you started talking to me like I mattered." "You do," I said. "You always did," she swallowed hard. "You think this is love?" "I don't know," I said. "But it's the closest thing I've felt to peace in years." She shook her head slowly. "It doesn't feel like falling." "No," I agreed. "It feels like landing." Her lips trembled. "We didn't fall in love," she whispered. "We healed into it." The words sank into me like light. For a second, I couldn't breathe. "Say it again," she smiled weakly. "We healed into it." I reached for her hand. "Then maybe that's what love really is?" "Not fireworks, not passion, just two broken people finally still." She squeezed my fingers. "But what if people think we did this out of spite?" "Then they'll never understand what forgiveness looks like," I said. "We didn't love to hurt them. We loved to stop hurting." Tears gathered in her eyes. "I still see him sometimes in dreams. The shouting, the lies, the way he made me question everything I was." "I see her too," I admitted. "Every time I close my eyes, I hear her laugh. It used to sound like home. Now it just sounds hollow." Sophia leaned closer. "You think they ever regret it?" "I think regret's the only thing they have left," I said. She exhaled shakily. "And us?" "We have this," I said, gesturing between us. "Whatever it is. It's messy, but it's real." Her fingers brushed my cheek, light as breath. "You make me feel like I'm allowed to exist again." "You make me feel like I can forgive myself," I whispered. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was sacred. The kind that wraps around two souls who have finally stopped running. "I used to think revenge would fix everything," I said. "But it only gave me justice." "And what did I give you?" she asked softly. I smiled. "Peace." Her tears fell then one by one. "You really believe that?" "Yes," I said. "Maybe revenge gave me justice, but you gave me peace." She leaned in until our foreheads touched. "Then maybe that's enough." "It is," I whispered. "For the first time, it is." The rain slowed outside, the world breathing again. I felt her hand in mine, warm, trembling, alive, and in that fragile stillness, I realized I wasn't haunted anymore. He showed up at my door past midnight, eyes bloodshot, suit wrinkled, the smell of whiskey heavy in the air. "Open up, man," Liam slurred, pounding on the door. "I know you're in there." I opened it, not out of kindness, but curiosity. "You look terrible." He stumbled inside, nearly tripping over his own feet. "You happy now?" "You got what you wanted!" His voice cracked. "You destroyed me!" I crossed my arms. "I didn't destroy you, Liam. You did that yourself." He laughed bitterly, waving his empty bottle like a weapon. "You think you're better than me? You think you're some kind of saint?" "No," I said quietly. "Just someone who learned not to step on the people who trust me." He flinched, breathing hard. "Rachel left me," I raised an eyebrow. "I'm not surprised." "She found out," he muttered, collapsing onto my couch. "About the other woman. About the accounts. About everything. So you cheated again?" He looked up at me, eyes glassy. "It's not that simple." "It always is," I said. "You just can't stop lying." His hand shook as he poured the last drop from his bottle onto the floor. "You leaked those documents, didn't you?" I didn't answer. "I didn't need to. You ruined every deal I had." "The board kicked me out." "Investors won't take my calls." His voice rose, trembling between rage and despair. "All those years gone. Years built on lies," I said. "You stole, manipulated, betrayed." "Karma didn't roar, Liam," it whispered. "And you didn't listen." He slammed the bottle against the wall, glass scattering across the floor. "You think you're better because you have Sophia now?" My jaw tightened. "Don't bring her into this. She's just another Rachel," he spat. "You'll see." I stepped closer, my voice steady but cold. "No, she's not. She knows who I am, every scar, every mistake. And she stayed. That's something you'll never understand." For a moment, he just stared at me, chest heaving. Then his voice broke. "I didn't mean for it to end like this." "You never mean it, Liam," I said softly. "You just never stop." He slumped forward, face buried in his hands. "What do I even have left?" "Yourself," I said. "If you can stand to look at him." Silence stretched between us. Outside, the wind howled against the window like an echo of everything he'd lost. He stood shakily, avoiding my eyes. You always wanted to see me beg, didn't you? No, I whispered. I wanted you to learn. He gave a weak laugh and stumbled toward the door. Then I guess we both failed. When the door shut behind him, I exhaled slowly, the air leaving me like something I'd been holding in for years. Minutes later, my phone buzzed. Rachel. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Her voice came through soft, trembling. Please, can we talk? I didn't say anything. I know you hate me, she said, words rushing. But I didn't know what Liam really was. You thought he was me, I cut in. You thought he was everything I'd stopped being. I made a mistake, she whispered. A terrible one. I let out a short, bitter laugh. You made a choice. That's different. I still love you, she said suddenly, voice breaking. I never stopped. Her words used to wound me. Now they didn't. Rachel, I said quietly, you don't love me. You love who I was before you broke me. Please just forgive me, she begged. I can't sleep. I can't breathe. I already did, I interrupted. That's why I'm not angry anymore. She started crying softly. Then why won't you see me? Because forgiveness isn't an invitation, I said. It's release. The line went silent. Then a faint sob and the call ended. I sat there for a long time, staring at the empty glass Liam had left on the table. The city lights outside flickered like dying embers, fitting for a man's downfall. I stepped onto the balcony. The night air was cold, sharp, clean. For the first time in years, I felt it fully, the weight lifting, the ache quieting. Sophia's message appeared on my phone. Are you okay? I smiled faintly. Better than ever, I typed back. Below, the city kept moving, indifferent, endless. I looked up at the sky, whispering to myself, maybe justice doesn't need to be loud. Sometimes it's just peace. And for the first time, peace didn't feel like an illusion. The morning sunlight poured into the office, warm and clean. Sophia stood by the window, reviewing blueprints. Her hair brushed against the glass as she leaned closer, focused, calm. We're finally doing it, she said, smiling faintly. Our own firm, I nodded, sipping my coffee. Feels strange starting over, doesn't it? Strange, she agreed. But right. I glanced around our small space. Bare walls, mismatched furniture, endless potential. You think people will trust us? She looked at me, eyes steady. They'll trust the work, not the names. Spoken like a woman who's already rebuilt herself, I said. She laughed softly. Takes one to know one, I smiled, but inside I still felt a flicker of disbelief. After everything, here we were, two broken people who somehow managed to build something whole. Later that afternoon, I sat across from Dr. Patel, my therapist. His office smelled faintly of mint tea and old books. You look lighter, he said, studying me. Maybe I am, I replied. He smiled. You've been through hell, Daniel. It's okay to admit you made it back. I stared at my hands. You know, I used to think revenge was supposed to destroy them, to make them feel what I felt. And now? I met his eyes. Now I think revenge was never about destruction. It was about rediscovery. He nodded slowly. That's growth. You stopped fighting ghosts. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I just realized they weren't worth remembering. He leaned back. And Sophia? I smiled unconsciously. She's peace, not excitement, not distraction. Just peace. Then hold on to that, he said gently. Don't measure happiness by the pain that came before it. When I left his office, the city felt different. Quieter. Softer somehow. I walked down the same streets that once witnessed my anger and humiliation, and it was like the pavement had forgotten my rage. That's when I saw him. Liam. He stood outside a corner cafe, unshaven, eyes dull. His suit was creased, his shoes worn down. The man who once commanded rooms now looked like a ghost haunting his own past. He didn't see me at first. When he finally did, he froze, coffee cup trembling in his hand. Daniel? His voice cracked. I nodded once. Liam, he hesitated. You look different. So do you, I said quietly. He gave a dry, humorless chuckle. Guess karma's got good aim. Guess so. There was a long pause. He looked at the ground. Rachel's gone. Took everything that wasn't already taken. I didn't ask where she went. Some stories don't need sequels. I wanted to hate you, he continued, voice hollow. But I can't. I did this to myself. For the first time, I believed him. I don't hate you either, I said. Not anymore, he looked up, confused. After everything? After everything, I said simply. He nodded slowly, eyes wet. You won, huh? I shook my head. No, Liam, I just stopped playing. We stood there for a while, two men shaped by the same storm, now standing in its calm. He turned away first, disappearing into the crowd, a fading echo of who he once was. I walked on, breathing deeply. No satisfaction? No triumph. Just release. That evening, Sophia and I sat on the rooftop watching the sun dip below the skyline. The city shimmered with gold like it was forgiving itself for all the noise. She nudged me gently. You okay? Yeah, I said. Better than I've been in years, she smiled. You saw him, didn't you? I nodded, and I felt nothing, I said. No anger, no hate, just closure. She took my hand, fingers warm against the evening chill. That's how you know it's really over. I looked at her, the woman who stood beside me through every broken piece, every quiet victory. You know what's strange? What? I didn't win by breaking them, I said softly. I won by fixing myself, she squeezed my hand. Then that's the only kind of victory that lasts. The city lights flickered to life around us, and for the first time, I didn't see reminders of what I'd lost, only reflections of what I'd become. As the night settled, I leaned back, closed my eyes, and let the silence fill the space where bitterness used to live. It didn't roar. It didn't whisper. It just was, and that was enough. The sky burned in shades of orange and rose as the sun sank behind the hills. The balcony rail was cool beneath my hands, the breeze carrying the scent of rain and jasmine. Beside me, Sophia leaned forward, her eyes lost in the glow. It's beautiful, she whispered. Yeah, I said quietly. Almost feels unreal, she smiled faintly. You ever think about how far we've come? Every day, I replied. Sometimes I still expect to wake up in that old apartment, walls closing in, ghosts everywhere. I remember those days, she said softly. You barely spoke. I barely breathed. I was broken, I admitted. You were too. She turned to me, her eyes reflecting the fading light. Do you ever regret it? The question hung between us, heavy and gentle all at once. No, I said after a long pause, because losing hell led me to heaven. Her lips trembled into a small, sad smile. You always know how to make pain sound poetic. It's the only way I survived it, I said. Turning wreckage into words, she laughed quietly. And now? Now, I said, glancing at the sunset. I just want silence that doesn't hurt. She leaned against my shoulder. We found that, didn't we? Yeah, I murmured. After all the noise we did, the wind shifted, carrying her hair across my cheek. It reminded me of that first night she'd shown up at my door, red-eyed, shaking, holding the pieces of her world in trembling hands. I sighed. Funny thing about pain. It introduces you to people who would have never found you otherwise. She nodded slowly. I used to think we were bound by what broke us. And now? Now I think we're bound by what healed us, she said, voice barely above the wind. I looked at her then, really looked. The woman who once cried through every conversation now stood still, steady, glowing in the soft gold light. Do you ever think about them? I asked quietly. Sometimes, she admitted. But only as lessons, not memories. Liam, Rachel, I said their names without bitterness. They were storms. We just learned how to build roofs. She smiled at that, eyes crinkling. That sounds like something Dr. Patel would have said. He tried. I chuckled. Took me a while to listen. Worth it? She asked. Every scar says yes. Silence settled again, but it wasn't empty. It was full of everything we didn't need to say. The sound of distant waves reached us faintly from beyond the city, merging with the hum of life below. Sophia's fingers brushed mine. Do you think love like ours could have existed without all that pain? I thought about it for a moment. Maybe not. Maybe we had to break to understand how to hold. She exhaled, the kind of breath that comes after a long journey. You know what's strange? What? I'm not angry anymore, she said. Not at him, not at her, not even at myself. That's not strange, I said. That's freedom, she looked at me. And you? I forgave them the day I stopped needing them to be sorry, I said quietly. That's when I knew I was done bleeding. Her hand found my chest, resting over my heartbeat. You still carry it, don't you? Everything. Yeah, I said, but it doesn't crush me anymore. The last light of the sun slipped below the horizon, leaving behind a violet calm. City lights flickered awake in the distance, like stars remembering their duty. Sophia turned to me, eyes shining. You think we deserve this peace? After what we've been through? I smiled. We've earned every breath of it. She leaned closer, whispering, I don't think I ever told you this properly. Thank you. For what? For not giving up when everything told you to. I chuckled softly. You gave me a reason not to. Her laughter mixed with the night air, quiet but infinite. Daniel, she said, voice trembling slightly, do you think this is it?
The end of our story?
I shook my head. No. This is where the story stops hurting. She smiled, and for a moment, I saw every version of us, the broken, the rebuilding, the reborn, all standing together under that fading sky. I wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close as the stars began to pierce through the twilight. Do you still believe in heaven? She asked. I looked at her, my answer already written in the warmth of her hand, the peace in her eyes. I don't have to, I said softly. I found it. The night deepened, calm and endless, and for the first time in my life, the world felt exactly as it should. Quiet, forgiven, whole.